Ladies and gentlemen, we have 5 minutes to return to the hall so we can proceed the program. Actually, the program is starting in the next 5 minutes. So everybody that is on the outside should be winding up their tea break and should be walking back to the hall so we can start in the next 5 minutes. You have 2 to 3 minutes to wind up your tea break and return to the hall so we can start in the next 5 minutes. Our tea break time is over. The tea break time and session is over. So I'm urging all of you that are on the outside, please come back to the hall. If you haven't yet finished your break, you can just come inside with it. And as the program continues, you can have your break inside here. So everybody on the outside, the tea break session is over. Please come back inside so we proceed with the agendas of the program. Those who are outside, kindly start making your way back to the hall because our tea break is over. Let us return to the hall so we can start the program from where we stopped. Everybody on the outside, our tea break session is over. We urge all of you to come back inside the hall so we can continue the program. If you haven't finished your tea, you can come to the hall with it and have it from here. Just to save time and to stay on the safe side of time so we can finish the program early enough. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from the tea break. Hoping you enjoyed it. For those that are outside, please start making your way back to the hall. Without further ado, we'll continue from where we stopped before we went for the break. And it was a presentation by Media Authority taken by Mr. Sapana Abui. With a round of applause, let us appreciate Mr. Sapana Abui and welcome him back to continue with his presentation. Thank you.
Welcome back from the tea break. Those behind there, can we have one meeting? Take your seat. Take your seats and let us start. The presentation is from the Republic of South Sudan Media Authority. And the topic we are handling is South Sudan Media Development and Transformation. It is about South Sudan developing its media sector and transform the media fraternity from traditional media to the new media platforms. Where we are coming from, we have been in the traditional media of broadcast and print medias, where we normally used to rely on newspapers, the broadsheets that every morning comes out and then give us the news of the day. So we are now transiting into the new media platforms where there are internet connectivities with the social media, and news can be posted anytime. As they develop, those who get access to them, they post them, and if you can access it, to get them immediately. We are transiting from manual and analog to digital connectivity system, nicknamed as .com. Those words were not during our time there in the past. We don't have .coms. All our news, the news reporters go and collect the news on their notebooks, write them, and pass them through the system of editing, through the editorial policy before they are published. But now we are moving into the digital. Even the radios, the TV sets are going to be digitized. They are no longer going to be analog as they used to be. And then it become digital. Now, what is the media landscape of South Sudan as we speak? From 2011 to 2013, when we attained our independence, the media in South Sudan was operating in a vacuum with no legal policy and regulatory guidance. That was our situation. By then, the media just was operating with no guidance. The laws were not there until I think this thing is jumping alone. All right. The relationship between the government and the media was confrontational by then. Everything is not that easy. The media put it up as the fighting the government, and the government look at the media as an agent, foreign agents against it. But from 13 to 2017, the country was ranked in the World Press Freedom Index to be 145, which means the media environment was not that friendly enough for the media to operate. Majority of the national journalists, media practitioners were then unprofessional, most of them NGO proxies working for NGOs. And many NGOs even have their own policies. However, the country's media environment has continued to improve. Start ranking from 2018, we came to be 144. 2019, we were ranked 139. 2020, ranked 138. 2021, That should be 128. There was an error there. 129. And then 2022 came to 128. And Bravo, in 2023, we were now 118 out of 180 countries. And as you see, South Sudan is a new country. We are progressing. We are yet to get our rate for this year, whether we have improved or we have dropped back. Media access. Oh, yo. Okay. Media coverage. The South Sudan country media coverage is still underdeveloped. We are not yet developed to the extent that many parts of our country are not yet covered or enriched with media services. The radio sector, especially the community FM radio stations, cover more of the areas, and that's what we are relying on. The community radios are the ones that are helping us to reach those far areas from Juba. The daily newspapers circulate mainly in Juba and in some major towns sometimes. Our daily newspapers, when they print, they don't have the capacity even to send their copies to the states. So they only circulate here in Juba, and sometimes some few individuals pick them to some of the state headquarters or major towns. Certain areas in the country at the moment, billboards and larger LED screens for advertisement and even road signs are only in major towns. That is the fact. Those billboards which advertisement and whatever there for us, those LED screens that you see them on the roadside, they're all around here, Juba. But out, you don't. Even when you get out of Juba, you don't even see road signs. You drive, you go to wherever it will end you. You don't know where you are going. So that is our situation. Media access. Many of the South Sudanese population still don't have access to the media. If you look at the coverage, and then you look at now the ratio of population that have access to the media service, you find we have only a very minimal number, because majority of our people live in those rural areas which are not yet connected. Free-to-air radio services are the commonly accessible mode on radio sets and mobile phones. What now majority of the people are relying on as the source of their information are free-to-air radio services that they can access on their radio sets, and that normal, I don't know whether you call them the old mobile handsets, the one that looks like, the Nokia one look like a fridge, the size. They are very good in the rural areas. And what people do, when time comes for the news, you remove SIM card so that the news is not disrupted by any call that comes in. And then you follow the news, especially the national news here in Juba. And iRadio need to thank you for that. Digital media norms. The digital media content streaming is increasing at alarming rate, especially among young people. Young people now like this digital content streaming, browsing, and then they follow anything that happens at any time, which is just at their finger tips. Online broadcasting contents delivered live over the internet or channels on handheld gadgets is exceeding the traditional viewing on TV set. Now, most people now watch those channels on their smartphones, on mobile phones. They no longer need to go to the sitting room, sit, and then view it on TV, those who can afford. So it is taking away the service. Even the TV sets are becoming not even marketable because people like convenience if they can view all those news on their mobile phones. That is the situation coming up. However, there is a norm of disseminating harmful contents on social media platforms and online cyberbullying without reservation. That's the disadvantage what we are getting in. It is a kind of a norm that people have adopted, that it is a platform for disseminating harmful information, pornographic, and all those detoxing that is not supposed to be circulated, but has been used on the SMPs. Many business enterprises are now able to advertise their products online. That's the advantage for the business people. They have now to shift to online advertisement, which even go wider beyond our borders. However, there is a low level of digital media literacy and technical advancement among the users. Though we are there, but literally we don't have that capacity yet. There is still a low level of digital literacy. We are blessed yesterday to find or to hear from the few that is actually, we call them cross the line and at least to navigate that internet literacy or the digital literacy to show to us what they have done. But the majority of us, we only use those good smartphones for taking photos and then watching media, videos and all that. You don't know, you don't use much of that gadget you are holding. You use only like maybe 10% of what is there because you don't have that literacy capability. That is our setback. All right, sorry. Effects of new media. The new media now is enforced decline in traditional media audiences and forced shift to digital platform. That is what now is happening. It is affecting our traditional media. That, especially the print media, most newspapers have closed down because nobody buy whatever they print or publish daily, simply because they can get the news, whatever they want to read on online, and the audiences are actually reducing, and then most now are migrating to digital platform because it is easier and convenient. It also now violates journalistic ethics, allowing anyone with internet access to write and post stories without editorial authenticity. And that is what it is. The major issue now, it has actually violated the journalistic ethics. Everybody become journalists, those who have access to the internet. We call them the mob, the fifth estate, who have got no rules. They just work and write. And the worst thing that is, most of the things they write are even wrong. You can find the wrong spelling, wrong grammar, and all that because they're in hurry, polluting even the minds and the future of even our country, rather than the refined news or information that are always published by the media houses who have the editorial policies. whereby for any information to go out, it has to be edited, refined, and put in the language, that's a journalistic, professional language. But this mob who write on the social media, they don't refine because they don't know that ethic, and that's the big challenge we are facing. You read it, after 10 years, you become like me, and then semi-illiterate. It excavated spread of misinformation, harmful contents, and hate speech. That's what it does. Some of the information they would send it out when later on it turned out to be there was nothing of that kind. Or it was even the opposite. Sometimes they will take photos which have happened in far end place or something of 10 years back and they say it is just happening now. They give you wrong information. It promotes unjustified intrusions into individuals' privacy and data vulnerabilities. They don't even respect the privacy of individuals, which is a crime. Intrusion into individuals' privacy. It's not allowed. But because they don't know those dangers, they just do it. It creates superficial connectivity and social behavioral change. You know, you go to those Facebook, you may be communicating with somebody, thought that person is existing. Maybe the person is not there. It is just an account created and you are communicating with somebody that is not existing. They keep on posting and things there. So superficial connectivity. You don't know. It's not like face-to-face contact. Now, the challenge is that all these platforms, at the moment, they are operating in violation of the legal policy and the regulatory rules. In South Sudan, we don't have the law yet to regulate the social media because of its complexity and also because of its diversity. You don't know which network, which one is operating. Meta also is not even cooperating. I don't know whether they will be with us here because they are the providers of these platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and whatever, YouTube, whereby they got all these photos, allow them to be streamed to us here, but not in other places. That has put algorithms to actually filter out those harmful images and so on. But for us, we are free country where things just or dumped to us, come in and garbage out, which is dangerous. So, but soon we'll look into that. Now, what also came up with the social on digital media and the new media is rampant cases of defamation. There is rampant increase in cases of online defamation and character assassination by individuals and groups on social media platforms, especially against government and government officials who get all those kind of things that will be put there, posted against them, whatever it is, things that are not supposed to be actually said, they write and push it, because those who are doing that, they're either out of the country or hiding somewhere in a dark corner, believing that they will not be found. Social media defamations can harm reputations and cause psychological damages, because some of the things that are said can easily cause psychological damage to the person or to the group. However, defamation lawsuits can be either civil or criminal charges depending on the potential harms caused. But the law provides for that. If the damage is so much, the offender can even take a criminal lawsuit against the perpetrator. But if it is minimal, it will be taken as civil suit. The law, of course, as we need to protect the freedom of expression, give chances also that the legal challenge, however, is how to provide convincing evidence that can prove an alleged particular online post, video, or comment to be a defamation. And that is what is now keeping us busy, especially in collaboration with the judiciary. Many of these complaints always surface it, and when it's taken to courts, the courts always refer them to us in the media authority to verify, to see, does the complaint really, the content qualify to be defamation? Because one thing, if it is not carefully analyzed, and then people will fear even to write on issues that are factful, statements that are actually truthful, people even don't will fear. But we have to see that for it to be a defamation, it must meet the content will meet that level. However, all are advised to use the social media platforms responsibly. We are not saying that don't use the social media platforms. They are there for you to use. They are also good, but use them responsibly. Now, argument for digital media connectivity. The rapid development in technology have enabled individuals to share their stories and opinions as they are unfolding. That's the good part of it. If anything is happening in some of those areas, and there are people there who know how to write, they can easily post them out, and the information can go out immediately. Sometimes it can also serve the situation. So that's the good part. It enhances media program diversity, which encompasses public, commercial, gender, age, and disability. That's the good part of it. It creates diversity in the media. You don't only need to wait for the broadcasters or the print media, but now it creates another channel. It enhances quick and wider dissemination of information effectively, regardless of the volume of the content transmitted. That's also one thing. Some of the huge volume contents, you can easily post them if your network is good to go out. But if that is to be printed, it will take pages and also will cost more. However, it has affected most of the free-to-air, so the pay or subscribe TV and radio broadcast services are now more sustainable than, that should be than the free-to-air. Because now, those especially the commercial radios or TVs, it's becoming difficult for them to sustain their operation because everybody wants them to be digital. So they are forced to go now to either you pay or you subscribe to their channel so that they get something to sustain their operation. Now the disadvantages there, the poor and the rural populace will be deprived of the right to access information. Now if all those radios, the main one shifted to any viewer to subscribe, then the poor will be deprived. And that is what we are calling on public broadcasters to actually cover the gap and cover the country so that the free-to-air service continue, so that the ones who cannot afford to subscribe monthly or weekly will be able to get the information. Otherwise, the information will only going to be for the rich who own smartphones. Now the authority is thinking and in a process to develop and enforce policy on content and rights management. Something needs to be done. There should be law to actually regulate the content. Those harmful content has to be refined. Either if the technology allow, we are going to deploy can automatically filter out some of those harmful. And if it is hidden in the what we call the national languages, we will also find them. I worked as a coordinator for national language development for 10 years. I can guess any harmful word in any of the language, the 32, leave alone the other ones. So we can still trace you. You will not cheat by putting those in the language that you think we don't understand. We also need to integrate advertisement codes into censored content monitoring. Advertisements also now are becoming the source for harmful information. People hide those bad languages in the advertisement. So we need to include that in the censored be checked. I think this is what we can say. Thank you all for taking notes. So many of you are taking notes. Thank you.
Let's give Mr. Sapana Abui a round of applause for his wonderful presentation. And now we will have another presentation, a 10-minute presentation by Juba Echo. Let's give Juba Echo a round of applause as they come and take us through their presentation session. Juba Echo, you're highly welcome to take the stage presentation.
Good morning, everyone. Well, thank you very much. All the guests present, I preserve all protocols in their various capacities. My name is Edward Emi Owachgiu, and I'm the General Manager for Juba Echo TV. First and foremost, I would like to say we thank so much the National Communication Authority for inviting us to be part of this very great occasion. I would like us to start by watching a video, a very short video that will give a highlight of what Juba Echo is before we can come to the presentation. Is the video ready?
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Juba Echo TV, information for empowerment.
I am the news producer. I make sure that the news comes in time and make sure that the news elements are all in place. Well, it's tiresome working on the news because you're working with deadline, meaning that you have to produce the news before its airing time. Well, there are several challenges that one faces during news time, more especially while anchoring the news as well. So you find there are a lot of words that must be repetitive if you mess around with it. But also, not only that, but when it comes to the computer side now, there are a lot of editings, and when we realize there is a small mistake, maybe a cloth that you wear did not fit well with the green screen, you find that is a challenge.
At Juba Echo TV, we have educative, interactive, and informative programs such as the Morning Echo that brings you all the current affairs, due to political, social, economical, sports, businesses, in the morning from 7 to 9 a.m.
So the Minister of Finance even was saying that it was not good for individuals to go and follow up what they have, because they are the body, organized body, which there are some people to take care of their administrative issues. So not every individual to get up in the morning and go and cause the unnecessary fight with the Minister of Finance. All of us, we need money from the Minister of Finance. But not everybody of us has to get up in the morning, pick his gun, and go and threaten people. We are living in the country which is controlled by law and order.
We have catered for the youth who love entertainment with the eco vibes, the gossips, and celebrity news that happens within the country and across the globe.
I am the host of the Eco Vibes, a program that runs from Monday through to Friday from 11 to 1 p.m. It's a program entertainment in a simple language. We do host artists, we host comedians, we host actors, poets. We premiere new videos ranging from comedy to movies to films to music videos, and we do the countdown as well.
For those who love sports, we have the Sports Blitz that comes every afternoon from 2 to 4 p.m. It looks at sports stories and events that happen within the country, within the region, and the whole continent and the globe.
Juba gives me a platform to express myself, bring about the voices of our different communities, to make sure by the end of the day the story is balanced, to make sure by the end of the day the story is impartial. And this is what we do at Juba TV.
Friday from 10 a.m. to 11, I host the Business Focus. This is the show that brings you discussions and highlights about entrepreneurship and economic development in South Sudan.
I am a young program. There is a program that I always do on Saturday at 8 p.m. That is the ladies' chat room that deals with things, affairs that are around the world about the ladies. Also reporting on my country. It's something that is very nice. Finding me around the corner, collecting information that is happening around. Also, we always provide news at 8 p.m. Monday to information for empowerment. We have local news, sports news, and international news.
At Juba Echo, we have managed to make sure that you get the right information at any time, any the MTN TV platform, or us on our social media platforms. You can access those information you would like to get.
Our motto is information for empowerment. Juba Echo TV is now making almost a year. We got on South One decoders and also got connected to MTN TV Plus. But we have been in the trenches. We've been actually operating for some time online and, you know, building the momentum. It has taken us some time actually to reach where we've reached. And we are happy that we're making positive change. Also help keep training. In 3 to 5 years, we will be among the biggest media houses in this country. And it is not just about being the biggest media house in the country, but it is about reaching many people, especially in a country like ours. people need a lot of work in terms of providing information, civic education.
Okay, I think I can pick it up from there. Thank you. That is just a brief. Okay, thank you very much. That was a brief highlight, actually a summary of what Juba Echo TV is, what we do, and more about us. Now, you could be wondering, why Juba Echo TV? We came into this industry because we saw some two very major gaps that we thought we should fast and very fastly work on. Number one is we came in the market to bridge the between the local person down there, the voice of the, we came to provide the voice for the voiceless. We realized that we have that young content creator outside there, that farmer outside there who is struggling in Mangala or in Renk, and his voice is not being heard. There is no media attention being given to him because the media industry is only focusing on maybe politicians and stuff like that. We came in to provide the voice for the voiceless. But also, most importantly, we came to provide an opportunity to show the other side of South Sudan that most media houses don't really portray. Like, we have very beautiful games. We all know the wrestling. Last year we attended a wrestling in Bor and we covered it live. We received very, very massive reactions from other international agencies and very many other things that really are in South Sudan, but we don't really get to see. So I'm going to be very brief, very brief. Juba Echo TV is the leading digital but private television channel in this country. If you want to find us, Airport Business Center on Airport Road in Tongping, that's where we are located. I'm not going to talk about the programs that we have, but what we do advertisement packages, short videos, documentaries, and very many others. The platforms that you can find Juba Echo. This is very important for you, the audience, because this is where you can get to reach out to us or maybe even watch our content. Number one, and most importantly, we are on the South One decoder. So that makes us a real television. People have been asking me, we only see you on Facebook. It's because we share a lot of content on Facebook. But if you have a South One decoder that I urge you to buy, you can check channel 50. That's where you'll find Juba Echo TV. Secondly, we have over 300,000 subscribers on the MTN TV app that you can get just by downloading it from the comfort of your smartphone. I believe, if not, all of us have smartphones. So you can just download it, the MTN TV app, and you're going to find Echo TV, and you enjoy local content. We are also on social media, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. You can just type Juba Echo TV, you will find us. Then also we have the Juba Echo News website, www.jubaecho.com. This is where we normally, all the news that our reporters cover, we put them on the website. For people who have missed on the TV, they can still catch up with the news on the website. So our vision, we are here to provide accurate, timely, and balanced information. The mission is to be the leading television station in South Sudan, but also we want to compete globally. We want to compete with the television stations in Central and East Africa. You know them. In the next 3 to 5 years, we want to be competing with Citizen TV, NBS TV, NTV, and very many other television stations that we look up to. Our programs, we have a range of programs, but the video has already highlighted most of these programs. The Morning Echo is basically a current affairs program from 7 a.m. in the morning up to 9, every weekday, Monday to Friday. The Eco Vibes 11 to 1, then repeated 4 to 6. This is basically entertainment. Sports 2 to 4, weekdays, Monday to Friday. The news hour. The Juba Eco TV news comes at 8 p.m. We normally have 30 minutes of local news that we gather, not only in Juba, but we also have correspondences in Bentiu, Torit, Upper Nile, and very many other places. They send in their news and we compile. So the news is very, very comprehensive that I urge all of you to tune in at 8 p.m. and watch. The business focus talks about business, health talk about health, the eco movies. We have partnered with the local and vibrant young filmmakers. For example, the Angel Films. They show local dramas and films that we also air around this time. I mean, from the hour of 7 to 8 every weekday before the news. We also have great, innovative, young filmmakers. The Gogo Play Spotlight, which airs every Friday from 7 to 8 p.m. that I urge you to watch. It's basically about South Sudanese entertainment industry, comedy, movies, short films, dramas, and stuff like that. Every Sunday we have the gospel explosion, 7 to 9, for some of us who are very religious, and maybe you want to first get inspired before you go to church. You can just turn on your TV, or you can even follow on our social media. This program also, we highlight how the spiritual world is going on. It's normally hosted by pastors or men of God, how they like to be called. The Gospel Ziki, here we host gospel musicians. We have a special package for the gospel musicians. We call them the Gospel Ziki. It airs from the hour of 9 to 11 every Sunday. Why are we the best TV? We are the best TV in this country because we have a very flexible and affordable pricing for adverts. There are some people who fear to advertise with televisions because they believe you need to first have $1,000 before you can go to a TV that you want your business advertised. But at Juba Eco TV, we have very flexible pricing. We listen to the clients and we make sure that we reduce the prices accordingly in a way that it will make them happy and also not also let us down. So we have, we prioritize local content. We have a very qualified and management staff because, you know, without a strong management, a television station will surely collapse. So we have a very dynamic team which has very minimal bureaucracy and very strong communication with the staffs and the management. We have a very favorable working environment that encourages personal growth. The journalists who work with us, they can testify. We have a lot of training opportunities that we engage them. You can join Juba Eco TV as someone who has just finished school with little or even no experience. But we have a lot of training opportunities. We take them to China, Netherlands, East Africa for trainings. They come back and they get to be the best journalists that you have never seen. Why we are the best, we also have very quality programming. Our live broadcast and nationwide coverage, I have talked about this before. We are the only television station that brings for you live coverage from any part of South Sudan. For as long as that part can access internet, we always bring these live coverages. For people who have been watching the TV, probably in the morning you have seen correspondences from the states. They are giving in their reports. So that makes us the unique television station in this country. We have a very strong community connection. We are deeply rooted down there in the community. And we have very diverse and innovative programming. We do market research and we find out what the viewers really want, and we create programs that are going to suit the needs of the viewers outside there. Well, we have several challenges that we face as a media house in this country. Number one, we have very expensive and unreliable internet. This affects our work because our TV is a digital television that heavily relies on the internet. So if the internet is expensive and it's not very reliable, definitely our work is greatly affected. High operational cost. We are facing a lot of operational costs, but we are managing. Of course, it's the reason why we are still around, and we are going to continue managing. The heavy taxation, unfavorable business environment, limited support for media organizations. This support in terms of financing. We have a very brilliant idea. We get to maybe a commercial bank, we present for them our idea, and they are skeptical to support. These are some of the challenges that we face. It makes expansion quite a challenge. How I wish we could have maybe tax holidays or subsidies. Like, you know, for every business to stand on its feet, you don't have to be paying taxes using your capital. At least this is our cry to the government that if possible, maybe we could get some time to stand on our feet, then be in position to pay taxes. But if we are paying taxes using the little money that we started with the TV, it becomes very, very hard to prosper in this business. Why you should choose Juba Eco TV above all other television stations is the quality of our programming. We have some very serious cutting-edge technology that we use. We pride in the local focus, but also global reach. We engage our audience, and we have a very unique value proposition. And that marks the end of my presentation. I have been very brief because I know we have very limited time given for this presentation. A lot of things I have not talked about, but probably we could have them in the questions and answer session.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for giving me your listening ear. I appreciate you so much for choosing Juba Eco TV. Thank you.
Let's give him a big round of applause as he makes his way down the stage. Thank you so much, Juba Eco, for the presentation. And now we will have another brief presentation from South One. 10 minutes strictly, South One. You can stage the grace to give us your presentation. And now let's give South One a big round of applause as they make their way to give us their presentation.
It's already afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, protocol of observe. My name is Johanna Peter. I'm the Chief Executive of South One Digital TV. I got 10 minutes only, and it is a short time, but allow me to just fly quickly. The slides here showing the TV broadcasting in South Sudan. We are trying here to celebrating the success and seizing the opportunities, and as well navigating through the challenges. Briefly, if you to ask yourself what is South One Digital TV, we are pay digital TV, pay TV. There is two types of the TV. There is what we call FTA, and there is also pay TV. So for our case, we are a base of a pay TV. We launched operation on 2019, August. We are using some of technology called DVB-T2. It's more technical. And we are utilizing UHF band. That's mean We are locally based. Our broadcasting station is here in South Sudan at UAP Equatorial Tower, where we broadcast the services. We happen now, we are the first digital TV in South Sudan. In general, there is a media connectivity and content creation. I just want to make it brief, that there is a traditional medium of the TV broadcasting versus what we can call modern, but allow me also to say the TV also are modernizing. They're scaling, they're going up. But let me call it IP TV or maybe OTT. All this has offered a great opportunity and a different opportunity. And this versus this, the traditional means versus the modern means or IPTV or maybe the social media platform, a competition is somehow high. But the TV is still resilient. The viewing is still there. As the TV can bring the concept or the meaning of the togetherness. More than a family member, they can watch the TV and they can enjoy together. So this togetherness is something you cannot get it when you are watching on your mobile phone. I'm not against the mobile phone or maybe the other medium. Now, the TV broadcasting infrastructure in South Sudan, I'm here today to show it because South One Digital TV, we are not a TV, we are a platform. We are offering that platform for the TV. And mainly, we are looking at our local TV. As Juba Echo, they were here presenting their own. We are the one hosting them. And among others, and unfortunately, some of them, they are no longer there. They failed due to many challenges. I wish it maybe later on the panel discussion, we will see this one. But in short, a journey from analog to digital to IPTV. This is the story of all South Sudan TV broadcasting system. We had journeyed from the analog, and then we went to digital, and now also we are an IPTV. And I just want to give brief on all these three, but time will not allow me. But the analog, it's a concept whereby the things are more limited. But the digital and IPTV, it's a concept where the things are more wide. And in language of technology, we call it binary, whereby 0-1 is more accommodated of data. So just this is the brief of all of it. So this journey has moved like that, as in the picture, the analog TV, whereby you do remember those days you put your antenna up and then you receive the signal. Maybe you struggle to do that. We went to digital, but we are still using the antenna, and now we are IPTV, where the protocols are the one regulating everything. They started of the journey of moving from analog to digital. We had the privilege to be the first digital TV. So the journey started with South One. As I stated earlier, we start the digital TV using the DVB-T2. This is the latest. We are yet to move to another technology on DVB-T2. There is something called also DVB-S. This is a satellite, more into DTH. As Karen now, the South One channels, we look at the other channels, I call them other channels. That means this is not a homemade channels versus the local channels. You can see the disaster. The disaster, it's 8% of our local channel. It is like we are viewing what is not ours. And this is a big disaster. Take this note, and later on, maybe in interaction session, we will be able to interact. Also, our coverage, it's somehow disaster and somehow good. Within Juba, we are able to cover 55%, and unfortunately, 4 to 5% we are not covering it due to challenges I will mention on other slides. I hope I'm not moving very fast. I think I remain with less than 4 minutes or 5 minutes. As of now, our active subscribers, and this shows you how resilient is the TV. We have over 70-something% people are still watching TV, our TV, and then around 30-something, they are not active due to many other things, not because of them not willing to watch the TV, but maybe DG mentioned one of them. It is the subscription. But our subscription is also cheap. It's 11,000 SSP. This is what we're offering. So it's cheap and affordable. But still, with our economical situation, also some part of the people, they cannot do it. More success. The journey of digital transformation from the analog has not just started with us and stopped there. Also, SSBC last year, they managed to put down their facility. And this is a great also step forward for us, maybe as a country later on, to totally shut down what we call analog system, and we move totally to digital TV in the broadcasting services, So this is one of the significant movements in the digital TV broadcasting. Also, more other success, one of the big giant communication, I think is a leading telecom, MTN, they launched it last year also, the IP and OTT TV services in the country, and also this is also showing another significant towards the era of digital. Remember, I told you, we are from analog, moving to digital and IP TV. So in broadcasting services, we are proudly to say, as a country, that we had achieved not fully digital, but at least the basic infrastructures for such kind of the services for the TV, it is there, and we happen to be lucky on that. Opportunities. What does that mean of us having a digital and IPTV? It's a great opportunities for content creators. One of the things I do believe that our story should be told by us. And we should tell them who we are, not someone by X name or Y Z, to tell how do we live our life. And we should celebrate our own things. You know, lifestyle TV, for instance. Most of the people here will be like, oh, I like this TV, whereby they present to you French foods and French stuff. But that's not the story. The story is our combo deserves to be also presented to the world. I'm just giving as an example. And many other things present to be given to the world. Our wrestling sports also deserve to take stage on the world viewing. So this is a great opportunity for the content creators to come on board. And here at South One, we do provide a free, for the locals, a space of hosting so that they come on board and they have their own TV channel. It's a great opportunity. You may just take notes on that. The challenges on the TV broadcastings, as in general and all over the South Sudan, number one is the infrastructure and the signal coverage. This one is very critical. You have seen in the slide there that we are covering within Juba. Juba is a small town. It's around 25 to 30 kilometer radius. So it's a very small town. And imagine we are not covering it. Why? Because of the infrastructure and the signal coverage. Infrastructure, I mean by infrastructure, because the DTTV, it works as sometimes as a telecoms. You need to put sites here and there and there. Whereby now we'll face another challenge, which is the high initial investment. To put down these whatsoever facilities, you need high investment. It's another challenges. The third one is the content innovation. People has been elaborating on the social media content. Do you know that South Sudan, the contents we are contributing, or people who are contributing the content to the social media, they are just only 4.3%. This is the recent data. Maybe later on the Meta guy will be here and will show us how many people are online on social media platform. And they're creating all these disasters, whereby you mentioned many other things here earlier. But that's not the case. The case is the content is not positive. It's not reflecting what we need. We need more innovative contents. And I mean more innovative contents is we need to tell who we are. The way I'm dressing today, I'm dressing as not a South Sudanese. The way all of you here are dressing, you're not dressing as a South Sudanese. So how best can we advocate for that, and how best can we show our lovely culture, as was happening here. I was happy to see one of the directors dancing with the group. This is the content. You know, this small snap is a content. And this content, it's a very innovative. If someone came up here and took it in as, you know, there is other ways of you doing that and showing it on different social platform or maybe on TV, and now we are telling our stories. How does it start? We need innovation. The last thing is regulation gap. When we came in 2019, I do remember, I hope maybe one of the NCA guys are here, you know, the DTT, the digital TV, when we check on the act, we couldn't find where we. Remember, our act goes back before the elevation of the DTT. It same goes for the Media Authority. The Act, Media Authority Act 2013, read together with Broadcasting Media 2017, if I do remember well, it has too much gaps, and many things need to be reviewed and need to be checked out. These are the challenges, but also, how do we see the way forward? The way forward on the challenges is on infrastructure. We looked at we need to construct, and this is too much money. And again, the infrastructure is already here in Juba. I do believe digital are there, Zain are there, MTN are there. They have too much towers, and Juba, as someone said, I quote, it's become a tower city. So too much towers, we don't need to put much on Juba, but in other cities maybe. But these people, are they willing to do sharing of the facility? It's a concern. For us as a TV beneficiary, this is a big challenge. Allow me just 1 minute on this, add 1 minute on my 10 minutes. You know, we cannot operate alone as a digital and IPTV. IPTV, we need telecoms. One of the big issues here is someone need to be in everything and everywhere and everything again. It means what? The facilities we have with the telecos, they take also that advantage of them owning another platform and not allowing others. There is no issue of you owning a platform for yourselves, but there is an issue of you also giving space for others to come and give you another content. I always say this, I cannot tell myself I'm number one if there is no other. I place myself as one if it's me and me alone. I only can place myself as number one if there is many other competitors in the market. So this one, it's my message and it's my takeaway to the telecos to rethink again. We need your facility. We need your facility. For regulator, we need a framework allowing us to see how best we can collaborate and work with the telecoms, because telecoms are not driven of content creation. They are driven by something else. For us, we are driven by something else. So every one of us has a different passion or maybe a business case. The high investment, allow me to say that I know a lot of people, South Sudanese, are investing in same variety of business, but at the same time, they are forgetting that there is another industry here. If they may invest into it, they will get a consistent returns. So it's an invitation also for capable South Sudanese investors, individuals, corporate, to come on board and think twice. How do we do best on investing in media? And investment in media, it means a lot. It means a lot. If we own our media, that means we own our image. We own our story. If you don't do that, that means there is another disaster. Sure, sooner or later, we will have it. The last thing is the content innovation. I'm still inviting the local that you need to do more. And then for the others also to help them to develop their professionally, their skills on creating content. The last thing is the regulator gap. I think, I do believe now there is a review going on the acts such that we can be able to see ourselves as the digital and broadcasting in the regulators. And for the last point is the media authority. You know, monetization of the contents include such something as advertisements or maybe subscription. If you go to media broadcasting's regulation 2017, there is a lot of prohibited things are not allowed to be advertised, which is good. That's not the problem. But the other problem is the big players in the market who are supposed to spend more money on advertisement, they're not doing it for a reason or else. But this is also another invitation for another engagements such that we get an opportunity on how do we see the TV advertisement, and how do we monetize? Because many things need to be monetized, sponsorship and also other things among other. By this, allow me to say thank you. Shukran لكل الحضور.
Thank you so much, Mr. Johanna, for your presentation on South One. Moving forward, we're transitioning into an interesting session, which will be a panel discussion and will be expertly moderated by Kafuki Jada. Kafuki Jada is a multi-award-winning journalist who has represented South Sudan at regional levels and also stands a continent recognition. Kafuki, with vast experience in public speaking, is also a peace ambassador. Ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, let us welcome Kafuki Jada to take us through this panel discussion.
Okay, you all look lovely. I'm always happy to be here. This is the fourth town hall meeting, and it's amazing to be part of the Media Day. Allow me to first acknowledge Mr. Elijah Alier, Managing Director for Media Authority, and also Honorable Engineer Napoleon Adok Guy, Director General for National Communication Authority, and also Honorable Lillian Adiu, Press Secretary, Office of the President. And also, allow me to recognize Sapana Abui, who is the Director General for Information and Media Compliance. Government stakeholders that are here, media, our guest, good morning. Oh, it's afternoon, good afternoon. All right, now I'm going to invite on the stage my panelists. We're going to be talking about media. We've just had lovely presentations from the Media Authority. We also had another presentation from South One and also Echo TV. So let me invite my panelists to come on the stage. Let me invite first from the Media Authority, Mr. Sapana Abui. You're most welcome. And let me welcome Johanna Peter for South One. We need you back on stage. And let me also welcome Edward Emmy of Juba Echo. You're most welcome. Let's clap for Edward as he makes his way. Thank you so much, Edward. These amazing three gentlemen, my guests, or let me call them my panelists, I'm going to be asking them questions. And these are very, very interesting questions because when it comes to the media, it's very, very important. Media is part of any democratic country, and as South Sudan also, as a progressive country or as a media that's progressing, it's very important that we close the gaps. So I'm going to start first by asking Mr. Sapana Abui, the Director General for Information. Let me first start by asking him, because earlier during the presentation, you mentioned the importance of regulating media. When it comes to media regulation, it's very important, but is it going to limit creatives or people that are on the digital spaces? Is regulating, controlling, is it limiting anybody that's in the creative space?
Thank you. Media regulation is a process of providing guidelines to the media to operate within the confinements of the law. As when you look into our transitional constitution 2011 as amended, Article 24 say that freedom of expression is guided as prescribed by the law, which means media has to operate within that boundary to know that you are free to express your views, your opinions. But mind that there is also the rights of others that you have to respect. You don't need to cross into that. Or there are also limitations, matters to do with the security of the nation and of the public has to be respected and protected by the media. So a regulation actually simply means guiding the media to operate professionally, ethically, and to address the public needs. That's what it means.
Okay, thank you for that answer. And also during your presentation, you did mention that the relationship between government and the media was confrontational. How has the media authority been able to harmonize this confrontation, or what has media authority done in that gap?
When we first became a country, we found ourselves that our media was not owned by us. It was a media that was put more on the sense of it has a kind of foreigner ideology that it is there to fight the government, always looking at the negative aspects or creating concocted stories, things that are not really happening, not being objective or constructive in matters materials that they publish. And that create challenges and confrontation with the government, because the government, and especially the security, disputed that. This, what you are saying is not right. And those are stories that are unsubstantiated, not proved, and they are just stories that created from nowhere. And that's what used to happen. But when media authority was established in 2017, that then have to be addressed. In one way is that media authority has to bring the two stakeholders, the media and the government, which is the security, together so that each can know each other's role. By that, it means that the security should also know that it's the right of the media to actually gather information and disseminate them accurately and correctly in the public interest. Meanwhile, it is also the role of the security to monitor and control the information in the interest of the security of the country. Anything that is against the nation is the role of the security to actually censor it. And that makes it easier because now the importance of two groups are known. The media knows that they are needed, they are important in what they are doing. And the security also knows that they have a mandate to protect the security of the people, and information such as classified information are not allowed to be disseminated. But the two cannot be taken away of any country. They are known. That's why media is known as the fourth estate of any system of any nation.
All right, thank you for that. One of maybe the last questions, then I'll ask my other panelist. We're transitioning to a digital world. So a lot of journalists and the media in general, I call it being nervous or having media anxiety. They're nervous that now that we're moving to a digital world, there will be no need, for example, newspapers. Back in the days, breaking news would break today and we'll get to know about it tomorrow morning when the newspapers publish. But now with the digital world, if it happens now, people see it now. So is the digital world going to, or the digital transformation now, is it going to erase some of this thing? What can you tell journalists or media people about this fear or nervousness that the digital might take over these other news outlets?
Yes, we transit from the traditional media into the digital or the new media. The only difference is that in the digital, it is actually provides easy transmission of information, timely and fast. But also it has its own disadvantages, that information that are just posted in hurry always contains a lot of errors, mistakes, misinformation. Things were not yet verified. It was just disseminated out, or criminal cases, issues, incident that has happened. They also in the digital media will just expose it, even aiding the criminal to escape. So in the terms of security, it also contributes to the insecurity. The works of the professional journalists are highly needed because they provide accurate and well-informed information, which is actually highly needed than this social media information that most of them are not reliable. And therefore, the coming of digital media even will help the journalists more in their work. It will even reduce their tiredness of writing and typing manually. Now you can type on the computer where you can make the corrections easily. The system also can give you a what they call it suggested correction of words by underlining rather than going to be. It helps the work of gathering and processing and even in the editing. So in a nutshell, it says that digital media is actually there to help media to grow, especially it easy the work for the professional journalists and make them even more professional than it used to be.
All right, thank you so much for that response. I think later maybe there'll be a chance for Q&A. We'll have it. But I want to move to Edward. You also mentioned some of the challenges that you're facing as Juba Echo. So some of the challenges you mentioned is that there is unfavorable business environment. Can you elaborate more what you mean by unfavorable business environment as a TV or as a media house in South Sudan?
Well, thank you very much, Kafuki. I'm a fan of you, by the way. Thank you for making... Yes, back to the discussion. We, as Juba Eco TV, we are facing a great challenge when it comes to the business. Let me put it this way, that the Media Authority regulation on broadcasting media, when I talk of business environment, of course, these are external issues that are normally handled by the government. That's what I'm trying to refer to. When you look at the Media Authority regulations on broadcasting media of 2008, on specifically advertising and sponsorship, it is clearly written that tobacco and even betting is prohibited, okay? And you find that, for example, alcohol, let's say the beers, the East African Breweries Limited and others, they give in a lot of financing that can move a media house to the next level, okay? And now you find that these are strictly prohibited. So it becomes very hard for us who need such sponsorship to progress when there is a prohibition of such a kind. And the challenging business environment that I can state.
Okay, I think later maybe we'll allow Media Authority or people that are here to respond to what you have said. So also, you mentioned that there's limited support for media organizations. When we talk about support towards media, what type of support are we talking about exactly? Is it from the audience, people viewing? Is it from business? Is it from the government? What exactly do we mean when we say there should be support for media?
When I started my presentation, I started by thanking the National Communication Authority, because inviting us here as Juba Eco TV, it means they recognize our effort, and probably is one of the ways that they are supporting us. Now, we as a media house, there are support that we need. For example, we need support in areas of taxation. Cost of starting a station in this country is very, very high. Okay? So it impedes an individual who has a very brilliant idea to start up a television station in this country. You are aware there are very many television stations that opened up in this country, but where are they? Can you name one that has stayed for even more than a year? It's hard to name. Why? It's because of lack of, I wouldn't really say lack of support, but the support is very limited, okay? Let me give you an instance whereby you find I have shown that I have the capacity. I show you my programs, you follow for even one full year, and I say, okay, maybe I need like about $500,000 because I the states that can boost my broadcasting operations. I maybe need to move to a bigger space because maybe as you're operating, you get more employees. Space expand. All these expansion initiatives need financing. Now I present my case to a commercial bank which is supposed to help, and surprisingly they'll tell you no, they cannot. So you find that it becomes extremely hard to even stay afloat as a business, because on the other side you're not receiving the sponsorship you're supposed to receive to enable you expand. On this side you go and request for financing and it is still not possible. So how do you expect a television station to continue running with all the high operational costs? You're paying your journalists, you are maintaining your offices, you have very high cost of internet and very many other maintenance for your technology, and you're trying to source for financing and there is no hand to help you, you see? So it becomes very, very challenging.
All right, I think now we want to also clarify something from South One. South One, you mentioned something about pay TV, and I'm not really sure we understood, but at least let me speak for myself. What do you mean by pay TV?
Okay, thank you. I said earlier that there is two forms of TV in terms of revenue generation. There is what we call pay TV and there is what we call FTA. FTA means free to air. Free to air is not necessarily they're not making money. They're making money. Take for example Z. I do believe everyone here knows what Z. Z World, Z Alwan, Z, all these guys are making big revenue out of one thing, advertisements. The pay TV means we are subscription based. That means for you to view that channels, you need to pay X amount of money and then you will have access to the services. And that one, it's one of the monetization modules or rules whereby you need to choose either to monetize by subscription, advertisement, and extra, whatever options you can choose. There is too many other things as like sponsorship, and you can name them. Thank you.
All right. You also mentioned that there's a gap. There is a gap on regulation of laws. Can you elaborate more?
Yes, there is a too big gap. When we talked about media, you know, the media, it's developing not by minutes, by seconds. The concept of the media It's developing by seconds. Earlier I said that now, you know, the big gossips now, the big talk now, it's all about social media, people who are in social media. And I mentioned, you can check this information. The online potential users as currently on social media are 4.3% of population in South Sudan. This is the online users on social media. You can check that information. Means what? Means this world is going very fast. As we can see now, people are talking about social media and the impact of social media and all these ones. So the gaps here, when we go to digital, the regulations of the media need to move from the analog form to digital and IPTV. All right? Like now, do media authority regulate online TV? Do media authority regulate IPTV and OTT? Maybe he can answer. Thank you.
Okay, maybe we'll hand the mic over to Media Authority to answer your questions.
Thank you, Johanna, for highlighting the gap in the regulatory policies. Yes, he's right, because when those laws were developed and enacted, that was before the transition into digital. So it was only focusing on the traditional mainstream media, not taking into consideration the technology that brought in challenges and that brought in new platforms and new dimensions in the media. And also, actually regulating social media is a challenge worldwide. Even many of those developed countries have not yet fully come up with way how to control and monitor the social media, simply because it keep on developing every now and then. You put the law here and then another one comes in. Like now, if you say you block a website or whatever, they have these ways of going around it and open it. So it is that dynamic in the complexity of the network that make it actually difficult to control the social media and online like the mainstream media. But however, we are in the process. That was why 2 years back, we developed it, the cyber security and computer misuse law has been developed. It is in the process. I think now it has gone back to Parliament. It will come, whereby it will also cover some aspects of misuse and especially the cyber crimes. So it is something that the regulatory policy also have to continue developing and following as the technology advances. At the moment, yes, media authority is not monitoring or regulating the online TVs because we say they're above us at the moment. Their technology is very fast. We don't follow them. We don't even see their contents like in the print media or the free-to-air that we listen to. Coming to the point raised by my colleague here from Juba Echo regarding the ban on advertising tobacco and beer and all that. You know, the law is there to protect the health, the right, and the security of the public. It should not be there to make money out of the death. You are there to serve the living. Those are harmful products. Promoting them, then, it is even more dangerous than those who actually manufacture coffin to wait for the dead. So those ones are not actually allowed in the interest of the nation. If a media is there to promote harmful product, then that one is a dangerous media. That actually by law should not be allowed to exist, because we are not there to kill, we are there to save life and to promote, because we need to help people, living people who are there to think. The harm that these products, seeing physically we could see it, how actually our population, people are dying from consuming those products. How many are we burying daily when they consume those products, the beer and whatever is coming in, the tobacco, the diseases that the hospitals and health are struggling with, simply because of over-consuming those products. So those are actually not healthy products, and I'm advising all the media platforms and all that to desist from promoting harmful or promoting criminality, even pornographic programs, which are destroying our children, tarnishing the image of the nation, are not allowed. Thank you.
Okay, maybe one last question, because I usually think there needs to be, people need to understand the difference between, because in South Sudan, there's two things, which is of course the law and also the culture and the tradition. So when we say that we don't want it to tarnish the image of the country, are we speaking in terms of law, or are we speaking in terms of our culture as the people of South Sudan?
Tarnishing, you know, for example, when you see in the media, on the social media, very shameful things happen in the name of South Sudanese. Like now you could hear where you go somewhere, always South Sudan is ranked as a harmful or a risk place where people always take guns and kill each other. That one is, which nation is that when you turn to each other, even the dogs even respect each other? So it actually brings a negative image. And this one are done by the media. Normally the media does what here and then disseminating wrong and unsubstantiated information about the country. It is a country that even sometimes when they said in South Sudan there are people, even mothers eat their children, you know, when in time of hunger. These are things that normally, it spoils the image. Media is to promote the good image of the nation and even the culture, respect the culture of the people. But now if it goes for the negative ones, or calling that ladies in South Sudan does not even actually control themselves. You know, these are things that normally are not good. We are like any other people in the world. Our culture does not say that we all go there and then auction our girls in the market like animals. No, we don't do that. But these are all negative things coming up. Say you go to South Sudan, girls are being auctioned for people to get food. These are things that does not happen, spoiling the true image. When you go out and you see that as a South, how do you feel? You feel that you are a less individual, you are somewhere between animal and human beings. That's not the work of the media. That is why it says media must respect the image, the culture, and the norms of the people in their words. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think now we can open the floor for questions. If we have questions for the panelists, you can raise your hand and maybe we'll have the mics. Okay, so I'm told there are microphones in the middle of the hall, so you can check the microphone that is closest to you, and you can use that to speak. Any microphone that's closest to you on the sides or in the middle of the hall. Yes, you're welcome.
All right. Can you hear me? No?
Hello. My name is Garang Mamer. I'm a freelancer and an editor. It is very, very crucial because the elephants are in the house. My question is going to the media authority. We are living in our current state whereby youth are no longer reading newspapers. And of course, the media outlets printing newspapers and sell, which is mean they get the revenue from them. As the media authority, what is your take or what is your advice to the outlets, especially the media outlets that are printing these newspapers, and of course the readability of these newspapers is at low rate? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
All right. So my mic is working now. Thank you. So transformation is something that comes out of connection. We are.
You're not very audible.
Is it any better now? Okay. Maybe I can just. Any better? All right. So, I would say that we work in a very unique landscape in South Sudan. And this is not an easy thing for both the government, for both the actors, that's the people who are media entrepreneurs, for the journalists, and all the other parties who contribute to the media industry. My name is Marina, and I am a media expert. So, I think I have two questions. One goes to South One. We talk about quality content. Quality content is actually expensive to produce. We talk about the quality of camera. You need editors who put in a lot of time. You need a great team. It cannot be a one-man show to produce quality. We have seen other ventures that have been working. We talk about Netflix. We talk about MultiChoice, DSTV. And some of these teams, they actually invest in the production of content. What are the plans of South One in financial collaboration, like their financial collaboration model with content creators in regards to this? Because if I'm going to invest money, or if I'm going to maybe do it as a passion project, I also want to know, what am I going to get as a content creator after producing this quality content? And then number two, this goes to the media authority. We do understand the country has priorities. The Media Authority Act has been in existence, I can say now, safely for more than 10 years. And we already know that there are gaps. We have used the Media Authority Act as a legal framework to guide some of the work from the mainstream media, and we know that the gaps do exist. Are there any plans to review, or are there any timeframes when we can actually expect some review for some of these laws, so that the things that we have seen are hurdles for us, especially as media practitioners, can be addressed? Thank you.
I truly apologize for intersecting into this section, but I want to let you know that we are time bad. Strictly ask one question and be brief to the point. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Swangin Skopas. My question goes to the Media Authority and South One. My question to Media Authority is about content pirating. Content pirating in South Sudan. What are the laws that are in place the Media Authority has put to regulate content pirating in this country, and how effective are they? Then second question is, what are your plans that you put forward to empower media entrepreneurs in this country for them to move forward, like South One and Eco TV? Okay, the other question goes to South One. Okay, to be a media entrepreneur in this country is challenging. It's either you are doing it by lack of knowledge from the government to promote your business,
or you are doing it just at the watch of the government for you to do the thing the way they are. You said you are a paid TV.
Please be brief with your questions.
You are a paid TV. How consistent are you with the content creation in this country? Because if I'm not mistaken, South One is operating as a pirate pay TV without a content. Because in South Sudan, I've never seen a content creator that can be used for pay TV to move forward in it. So I need you to clarify this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank
One
you.
more
Let's
time.
give a chance to the lady in front here. Yes.
Thank you. My name is Martha Dimaj. My question goes to the media authority and also the other media. Looking at the contents of the program that you guys play, there's nothing to do with our core values as South Sudanese. Let me take radio as an example. You know, sometimes you find that there's some funny songs that we play in the radios, and we have kids, we have other people who are not yet mature enough to know what they do. So what is the media authority doing regarding that? Because to me, we are spoiling the country. And South Sudan, by the way, is the confusest ever country when it comes to culture, because we were in different places, we are bringing different culture. So what are the core values that we are putting here, and we urge all the media to use it to create our culture as a South Sudanese? Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give chance to Mr. Kong.
Yeah, my name is Kong Pal. I manage iRadio and also the chair of Association for Media Development in South Sudan. I have two questions, one going to NCA and one going to Media Authority. We say South Sudan is young with a population, I think 70% are young people. And we are talking about young people, and it's good that in this town hall, majority are young people. And from quote, Elijah Alier said, talented individuals are the lively blood of eco-digital system. That there should be no one that is left behind. And young people are talented, are innovative, and they want to do their own thing. But media authority has limited their chance to be creative. Recently, if some of you have been to Kenya, the street of Nairobi is full of young people recording their own videos for TikTok to make money. Here in South Sudan, for you to leave Juba to go to other states, they will confiscate your camera and say, bring letter from media authority. At the same time, when you are coming to the country with your camera, you are told media authority has restricted unless you get a letter from media authority. My colleague came from Nairobi recently with his camera, and it took them almost 1 hour that they wanted to take his camera because there was no, even they show him the letter from media authority. Why are we limiting this opportunity? And where is it in law that say you cannot enter with camera when it is not, unless it is authorized by media authority? To NCA, young people want to produce content, and for them, when they create YouTube channel using South Sudan code, it's not, they cannot monetize their content because according to some of them whom I spoke to, one of them create content, he has to sign in through Kenyan's courts. Why is South Sudan young people cannot make money with content they put online because they create their account here in South Sudan? Is there any problem? Is there anything that you can do for that? Thank you so much.
All right, I think now they can answer the questions, or we give chance to, yeah, let's give a chance.
Thank you very much. Mine was a question, but probably now it's a concern and an answer to some of the questions that have come through. Largely, the media is gone digital, and so just like books, there are less and less of paper copies and more of online copies. It is the nature of the publishing industry, and we've got to get to terms with that. And so you find that the Washington Post, just as an example, or New York Times, sells a lot more copies online than paper copies, which was not the case 15, 20 years ago. And so as a media industry that has largely been used to paper copies and the distribution channels that are associated with that, will come to contend with the fact that our readership is gone online, and that is the nature of the media landscape currently. And so if New York Times, as an example, or Washington Post is going online because that's where their audience is, that's where their advertising revenue is, it is probably something that the NCA can only encourage, but as a business, we need to see into it that the readership is gone online, and we've got to use our brand name to also be online, because that's where our readership is. But I think in the main, there are less and less of newspapers, hard copy newspapers, being produced, and more of digital content of the same papers going online, and people accessing and paying for them online. It's the reality, and our businesses will have to be re-engineered to come to terms with that reality. Thank you very much. I thought that I placed it earlier as a question, but as a comment. Let me yield, if you don't mind, briefly to the Yako Gigi.
Thank you. I just want to give a warning. We are talking too much about social media, and we assume that everyone in the country is online. And that is not the case. My colleague, one of the panelists, talked about 4%. I'm not sure if the figure is correct. But if you look across the region, the internet coverage, the broadband, is about 35%. You are leaving 65% out. But that's not enough. If you look at the ownership of the smartphone that can access this online, it's almost about 25. So we have very few people online, and we assume as if all of us are online. I just want to put this in the air so that we know that we are leaving behind a lot of people in media. And therefore, maybe I'm not sure if it's the government or NCA or media of South Sudan to come up with the campaign on how we can push for the free-to-air, because still a lot of us in the village, we are using free-to-air as the only method to access the news, because there is no internet. And if you have internet, then you don't have a mobile phone smart enough. And even if you have those two, the affordability again becomes an issue. I just wanted to make that comment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now we can give our panelists a chance to answer.
Okay, I think most of the questions, I don't know why, is coming to this angle here. Let him try. The first question about now youth don't read newspapers. Advice to media outlets that are still publishing hard copies. I think that may be the question. But I think John Omo has answered part of that. Yeah, it is true that especially you young people, you are almost of you are young. You don't read newspapers, the hard copies. It's only those who were born before mobile phones are the ones reading newspapers. And their numbers are dwindling, they are very few. And that posed a market shrink for the print media, because what they normally work on has to be bought, so that they use that part of the money to pay for the next printing, and also pay for the journalists and editors, and also sustain the overhead. But all these are dwindling because most of the print daily go back as a return. They were not bought. So that is a challenge. But the issue is, people mistakenly, and I will still repeat this, disregard the print media or the public or free-to-air broadcasts and normal go for this online. And online, they are actually, most of them are missing information. Those newspapers, the pages that you are disregarding, those are the correct information, authenticated. They were actually edited and they verify their reporters go down to the source and get the information as it happened. So they are actually the correct information that people are not disregarding and go for this, what is known as either in your languages called fake news. And then it is also making you also now to not actually know the fact, and you should not take actually informed decision because you are relying on fake news. The other question is, when is the timeline to review the media authority? You know, we are, as a country, transiting. Even our constitution is called the Transitional Constitution of the Republic of South Sudan. And that is why it is under review. That is the actually what we call the mother of all the laws of the country. The constitution has to be reviewed first, and they gave it, I don't know why I say, to be a permanent constitution. But the constitution normally is not permanent. Time will come, it will also be reviewed. When the constitution is reviewed, that is where now all these other laws also will be reviewed, because most of those powers derived from the constitution. If you review those acts now, what if that act changed in the constitution, which is the law of the land? So the process of reviewing all those laws, we have almost close, I don't know now, 100, because the Media Authority Act is number 64 of the act. You know, the number of laws that we have. So it all depends, and it's good that now our government has taken the initiative, our president has actually formed that committee who are now tasked to review our constitution. So that answered that. All that gaps, we have noticed them, and it will be reviewed when time comes. Scopus asked something about, I think you got to say, content pirating, which I think that what I got from you, I don't know. It is actually plagiarizing, or what we call intellectual property steal. And that one is common actually on social media, whereby you find that somebody saw something somewhere and then they just copy, paste, and then they put their names as authors, which is dangerous. First of all, it is a crime to copy somebody's content or work and then you claim that you're the one who did it. It's actually a crime internationally. We have a law, but we have not yet implementing it, protecting the intellectual property rights. So don't do that. It's not good. And sometimes it can even land you into problems. We have a case where one of those of you copy somebody's work and then put it. But then that person was meaning something else. And then the person who just saw because of the heading and put it. But then when you read the content, it was actually a serious issue which implicates the person. But we have to just advise and say, please see this one. If it is seen, you will go in for a number of years. I also ask what is Media Authority doing to protect or promote the development of media. That's what we are doing. We are promoting media by protecting their rights and their interests. That's why when I was making presentation, when the cases of defamation has become now like everybody's, when they see anything said in their name, say it is defamation. Anything that comes. So Media Authority, in collaboration with the judiciary, comes in to say, it does not mean that any posting, any writing is a defamation, unless it is proven beyond convincing point that it is really a defamation, that something affecting somebody's rights. Otherwise, constructive criticisms of the activities and all that will not be there. Then how do you muzzle the media? So that is actually meant to promote media practice. Yes, Digital here asked about our core values. Yes, our act put it that of all our content, 40% of the program should be, 60% actually supposed to be local, and only 40% should be foreign. But what is there? Those, as you have heard it, when we talk about harmful products not to be advertised, they say it is against their right. They are not making money because selling those harmful products make more money. And that is why now they go for those harmful songs and all that. And then they put it. I think I will say, Kapuki, you also sometimes play some music there in iRadio, Kongweli, and not assassinate me today, but I will say. You know, simply because that is where these young people dance for it. And that's why they will tune to them, because they like those bad things, you know. And that's how it normally surfaces, actually not respecting our core values. But the law, the media authority is actually protecting that. That is why they are not happy with the media authority. Coming to Kong was asking about why there is a restriction on importation of cameras. You know, that one is a security concern worldwide. One time we went to Arusha, and then at the airport first, we have to disclose it's a small digital camera my colleague was carrying. And then we have to actually go through clearance and all that. And then after the conference, we just moved to the next, in front of the next hotel, and then we saw nice, and they even called one of the securities guarding that hotel, took our photo, tell we were arrested for that. Why is that cameras, they are actually the sources of these gadgets that are harmful, and especially now that drone cameras, the contents are put in which look like a camera and then you don't know. And that's why here now, instead of you to be taken to Blue House for you to explain about that camera, the type and all that, we said, okay, let media authority do it because we are not in uniform. We are not in the blue room. Ours is in a white room. Give it to us. We will look at the description and say, no, this camera is not harmful. It is also for even your own protection as the owner of that camera, that you are not bringing harmful gadget into the country. You also talk about film permit. The film permits also came in that because, you know, one of the issues that was the causes of all this insecurity or whatever comes with information that were gathered from the public, and especially the images that were taken. And that one came more even from the public themselves. We have handled cases where even some public almost to beat up some of these journalists, and they were taken to us, saying that these people have sold us, they have taken out, they are selling it to magicians to make money with our image. Simply why? Because when you take those photos, they don't know what you do with them. It does not come back to them. So now the public are more conscious about people taking photos and all that, and they will be the first one to attack you. That's why also media authority came in to say, okay, we have to provide protection so that if you run into problem there, you call us. And they will say, no, those are not wrong people. Those are journalists doing their normal journalistic work for their YouTube or whatever. It is not going to sell you to magician, or you will not go under the water. This is your safety, or not for your, against your security. So that is simply why there is always that permission to help you. And in case of anything, you call us, we'll come to your rescue. And I think I've answered some of that. May pass it maybe to Saswan. Yeah, I also answer to add something.
Yeah, thank you, Kapuke, for the moderations. There is one question which was directed to NCA, but I want to go back to earlier discussion by Johanna over the issues of if the government is regulating online contents and online TV, including paid TV. Actually, the online TV and online contents are dependent on the national infrastructure. There's one thing that has not come out for most of you, the Echo TV and Source One, is the issue of infrastructure, which you alluded earlier that there is a need to share infrastructure. What are those infrastructures? So for Source One, who are using relay transmitters with the decoders, it is very clear. They are referring to physical infrastructures, or more broadly, the digital distribution infrastructures. And what they are asking for is if they can use the existing towers or buildings in the country to locate their beacons so that their signal get better in Gudele, Ayanim, or Shirkat. I assume so. For Echo TV, which is solely online, what are the infrastructure for an online television? The infrastructure for online televisions are basically broadband connectivity. With the arrival of 4G in the country, known as LTE, there's quite a number of smartphones that has come in our country. They are estimated now at close to 2 million smartphones in the country. We don't want to say all those 2 millions are usually on social media or online, but at least there are 2 million smartphones which are using LTE. We can roughly estimate the people who are accessing online content. But again, it depends on the system deployed by Echo TV. If Echo TV content demand servers are hosted in country, or they are hosted abroad, or they are hosted online, all this has implication. I give you an example. If the contents are hosted in country, you realize that the content streaming is faster. Is not interrupted if there is cable cuts in Uganda and so forth. Meaning that the quality and performance of his online TV will be determined by the level of infrastructure across the country. And we know that only people in Juba may enjoy LTE. The moment you cross over to Bor or to Juba, to Wau and Malakal, then the number of people with access to that level, high level of connectivity, drop. So some of these TVs we are talking here, they're actually only in Juba. They are not outside Juba because of limited of access to broadband connectivity. So this is the point I wanted to say. Now, how do we as the regulators look at that? For us, we don't look at the infrastructure for these things as in terms of media only. We have also interest to get taxes from those doing business online. And for us to get taxes, that's why we install the internet exchange point so that we can localize our traffic and be able to pinpoint those applications that are used for commercial. For example, if Google shops are going to be here or Apple Store, we will then be able to engage them. The reason they are not here is because we don't have appropriate infrastructure. This is connected to a question earlier raised, why are local content not being able to be monetized by one person behind there. Now, for you to monetize local contents, first of all, those platforms that you call social media and other people, we call them in technology term as content data net. Yeah, so those networks are known as they are content providers networks. The content providers networks are the one of Google, Meta, Twitter, TikTok. These are content providers network. They are network of their own. But those networks, before they can monetize material generated from anywhere, they first have to agree with those people in that country for a community standard that I was alluding to earlier when I was opening this remark. That's why it is very important to have an agreed community standards. The community standard is beneficial for you, the content creators. Why? It will protect your intellectual property. For example, if you produce a video, so that that video is not plagiarized, what the other guy was calling content piracy. So these are things that are adapted in the community standard of a country. When we sit down with the Facebook, I think later on you can ask the Facebook people that question and you'll get the same answer. So there has to be a community standard to protect those content produced. Only then shall you be able to monetize. Now, for them also, they would like to see a country as a robust data protections and an intellectual property law. Remember, somebody is developing software, something unique. Somebody is designing some nice application. All these are intellectual property that require protections. Now, when content network providers come here, they want to see what are those laws. Do you people have a data protection law? What are the scope of it? South Sudan, and I would like to invite later on Honorable John Omo maybe to give us enlighten the status of South Sudan in the data protection. We have signed a protocol, what is known as Malabo Protocol, AU data protections. I think the expert is here, he will tell us. But we have not ratified. So our country still does not have data protection law. That's one disadvantage for why many of these giant technologies are holding back. Second to that, we don't have intellectual property law. It is missing. So anybody bringing their equipment here is risking challenges that could be. They are not afraid of them being sued in South Sudan. The problem is that they can also be sued outside other jurisdictions. So that is one area. The last one is the cybersecurity law. What are the cybersecurity law in the country? So these are factors that determine the monetizations of any content generated. And that is why you can only sign up now either as a Kenyan, even though you sit in Gudele, either as a Kenyan, a Ugandan, or Ethiopian. Because in those countries, those parameters are in place. And those parameters have been developed and mature enough, and intellectual property is well protected. Kenya has already a data protection commission, an independent commission, so that when your information is infringed, you have a place to recourse. And that will eliminate the issues of content piracy that our friend was raising earlier. So what is NCA doing? We are engaging the data content networks. That's why we are talking to Meta, we are talking to TikTok, we are engaging Google. And while we are talking, for them to allow their system to recognize us here, they are also expecting us to develop infrastructure. And the infrastructure is setting up a data center where servers can be hosted here. Computers are very stupid machines. Because what happened is that in each country, a server is brought there, it's called a cache, a temporary copy. So most of you who goes on Google, you are not actually accessing Google California. You are accessing Google lying somewhere. Is it Mombasa Road or somewhere? Yeah, there is a copy somewhere in Nairobi. That's the Google you are accessing. But if you travel from here to Accra and you access your Google account, The data does not come from Accra to Nairobi, no. You will use the mirror which is sitting on the other side. So each country has a place to put a cache. So for us here in South Sudan, the NCA is working now to make sure a cache is brought inside the country, provided we develop our infrastructure for protecting it with laws, and it is something that nobody can interfere with, not even the media authority or us, because it is a machine and everybody will access it. First, what will that do? It will reduce the speed of your internet, which you are taking will go faster, because you'll be sitting in Logo and you're accessing internet sitting in Gumbo. And that is why most of these things are interconnected. But because the nature of our country, I don't buy the excuse that we are young. In fact, in technology, the youngest is supposed to be the most modern. And that's why today, South Sudan, in East Africa, we are the only country that has leapfrog. We don't have a scratch card for airtime. We are the only country in the region with a mobile money that is not connected to a mobile network. These are new technologies. Other countries that are still struggling with the old legacy. So on our side, we are engaging people like Meta, which is the common platform here, the Facebook. We are also engaging with TikTok and the others. And we are very sure that when we meet all the requirements, including enacting the laws, this thing will change and you will be able to monetize your content. But content monetization are dictated by community standard. If our content here, who want to advertise in a country where people are promoting killing? Tell me about it. Who want to advertise in a place where you are still auctioning women? So some of the silly things we are doing are actually hindering us from making money in these platforms. And that's why a standard needs to be agreed so that we can agree on certain norms. And then people will come automatically. You'll be able to raise money from your music. So it is a task that should not be left to government. All of us, those of you aspiring to make money from content, we need to clean up our social media outlook. Thank you. Do you want to say something about the Malabo protocol on data?
Thank you very much, DG. Not any more than you have yourself said. But I think the convention is now in force, having been ratified, I think, last year by Mauritania as the 15th member state. So the convention is in force and African countries are bound by it. Of course, the requirement is that we domesticate it. And that is where countries like South Sudan are still falling short in terms of data management and the need to ensure that we have a robust data protection regime in our country for purposes of protecting personal information, either as a data generator, as a data handler or such, is indeed a requirement that we consider. I think it's there are benchmarks that have been done in this regard. If it is the wish of the country, we can work certainly with the DG and the YACO, of course, in terms of trying to scratch our heads on what may be appropriate for the country. But of course, ratification or accession now for South Sudan to the convention will be a matter for Parliament here and the political authorities to consider, because I think it brings us as Africa together in terms of how we deal with intra-country data trade, because data is a commodity that is the most important now. I was speaking to some young people that had pitches here yesterday, and the information that they want to deal with really is data, how they manage data in terms of various value chains and commoditize it. So I think data is the key thing that we will be selling, information about where you buy, where you go, and how you do whatever you do. So I think it's imperative that South Sudan considers a robust data legislation for the country, as DG says, you are starting from scratch, and so there are no legacy issues to deal with that would hamper the rapid development of such legislation. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. I think in the interest of time, we'll give each maybe 1 or 2 minutes, and then we'll wrap up.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. DG. Maybe he has answered some of my good questions. But I want to be more laudable for the telecoms. You know, co-hosting or sharing of the infrastructure, it's a big issue for many players in the market, and we are among those people. Allowing us to do so, it also another way of you guys benefiting financially and as well contributing to the sector of the broadcasting. I do believe the sharing of infrastructure, it is not for free, it's still paid. In terms of the online one, which is the IPTV and OTT, I just want to add on this, we do need the telecom infrastructure such that we put our CDNs. CDNs is content distribution networks. It's a server. We put them and then we can be able to route and do something called IPTV and OTT. Basically, we will do it locally within the network. And then this one will allow also more viewership who are interested to access the services through mobile phones. So this one, we need it. We need it regardless if the telecoms are doing the same business or not, because competition also is a concern. The questions about our content plate, the local content plate, the issue is, let me be honest, we don't have content. Take this fact. We don't have contents. We don't produce contents. And the little 0.0x we produce is unuseful content. Unuseful content whereby we cannot monetize it. We had a very small experience with a certain group. All of you know Juba Film Festival and filmmakers. It was one of the failed contents engagement with the locals, and we could not even be able to monetize it. But again, what we found is we can be able to get other people content through what we call CDA and CDL, which is content distribution license authorization. This is something available whereby you can just sign and you pay the networks and the network will give you the content. And again, this content is not ours. This is content, we're just paying a lot of money for it. And we are making a lot of losses actually. Over 6 years, we did not pick up well, over 6 years. But we still exist, that's the good news. But the bad part of it is we are trying our level best in the market. I know time is going on. I want to just take time for one thing here, which is how do we help each other? It's a question of the madam was standing here. We are willing to invest, and others are willing also to invest. Content creating is not expensive as you said. I do believe everyone has an iPhone. An iPhone is a potential camera to produce up to standard whatsoever you call it K, resolution of the content. So I do believe it's need innovation. Innovation is required, and this is the last one, Kafuki, if you can allow me. Sorry, I'm taking too much time, but I have to say thank you. No worries. My comments will be too much.
Okay, we did not receive a lot of questions. Basically, we just didn't receive any question direct to us as Juba Eco TV. But allow me just highlight very briefly concerning a program that you try to suggest about culture. As Juba Eco TV, we have the Nation 64, which is a cultural program, which basically highlights culture, lifestyle, the traditional marriages, the local foods that we eat. These are very unique programs which are very monetizable for purposes of monetization. We have this program running every Saturday. This is a program that we believe can shape the discussion on the culture of and diversity of South Sudan as a nation. Maybe to to just give a brief highlight is that you get in this program, the elders, they get to appeal to young people on some of the things that are happening, and they think they need such things to change, as well as the young people also get an opportunity to appeal to the elders about how the world is changing and how probably we should come to a consensus and move together with the world. And lastly, allow me just reiterate on the aspect of prohibiting some of these things. We are well aware that all over the world, the biggest business world over, multi-billion business, is food business and drinks business. You will agree with me on this. And you find that most of these, let me give for example, the things that are prohibited. How I wish we could say safe use, okay? Safe use, because you find the same people who are going to prohibit alcohol, for example, are the same people who are taking alcohol. Then you ask them, why would you prohibit? You put something on law, you want to prevent other people from making use of it, then other people are taking, okay? I'm just giving this as an example. I am not here to steer discussions about alcoholism and stuff like that, okay? And lastly, I was trying to say, how about we say such places like the betting centers, they can be opened like in the afternoon, okay? And maybe we say 25 years and above are the only people to access such places, to protect the young people who may engage in such businesses against their will because they are minors. I think this is a better way of consumer protection than deciding and say we have prohibited this. I beg to submit. Thank you.
Thank you. My advice to all of you is to use the social media platforms and online responsibly. Improve your digital literacy so that whatever you post, make sure that you post it taking the responsibility that it is something that is accurate, and if you are taken to court for it, you will actually defend yourself based on what you actually posted. If you are not sure of something, and if you don't have this journalistic ethics, please don't just post those harmful contents on social media. It is dangerous even for yourself. And again, we are here to say government is there to protect the nation and to protect the public from harmful products. Even that's have like a bit of standard to protect us even from the these non-alcoholic foods, everything that you are getting. And those who are actually the alcoholic campaigners trying actually to destroy our nation with those drugs, cocaine, and all that is the ones that we need actually to bring them to book, and so that the country should be safe. Otherwise, we don't advocate for things that are harmful. If there are media that are advocating for those are dangerous media, they are more dangerous like the gunmen that are killing us on the streets. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Bingul shukran lekuluzol. Share kukaman kanjuzu min the panelists. I want to say thank you so much. Until next time, it has been lovely. Let me hand over the mic to my colleague, that is Sarah.
Let's give our moderator, Kafuki Jada, and all the panelists a bigger round of applause. It has been a very insightful conversation. Thank you so much, Kafuki. Ladies and gentlemen, we're supposed to be having a presentation by Meta. How many of you know Meta? I know the people that didn't raise their hands know Meta. And we're going to be having a presentation by Meta. So we're going to release everybody for lunch, but request all of us to return in time because it's an online session. And if we delay, we might miss or not participate in this session at all. So if possible, return exactly at 3. Before 3. Return before 3 back to the hall because the session will start exactly at 3. Thank you. Have a nice lunch and return in time. I'll be here waiting for all of you. From the way people are getting up slowly, you're going to delay. Get up right away, go for lunch, and come back. Have a nice lunch.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Juba Echo TV, information for empowerment.
I am the news producer. I make sure that the news comes in time and make sure that the news elements are all in place. Well, it's tiresome working on the news because you're working with deadline, meaning that you have to produce the news before its airing time. Well, there are several challenges that one faces during news time, more especially while anchoring the news as well. So we find there are a lot of words that must be repetitive if you mess around with it. But also, not only that, but when it comes to the computer side now, there are a lot of editings, and when we realize there is a small mistake, maybe a cloth that you wear did not fit well with the green screen, you find that is a challenge.
At Juba Echo TV, we have educative, interactive, and informative programs such as the Morning Echo that brings you all the current affairs, political, social, economical, sports, businesses, in the morning from 7 to 9 a.m.
So it was. So the Minister of Finance even was saying that it is not actually, it was not good for individuals to go and follow up what they have because they are the body, organized body, which there are some people to take care of their administrative issues. So not every individual to get up in the morning and go and cause the unnecessary fight with the Minister of Finance. All of us, we need money from the Minister of Finance. But not everybody of us has to get up in the morning, pick his gun, and go and threaten people. We are living in the country which is controlled by law and order.
We have catered for the youth who love entertainment with the Echo Vibes that brings you the music, the gossips, and celebrity news that happens within the country and across the globe.
I am the host of the Echo Vibes, a program that runs from Monday through to Friday from 11 to 1 p.m. It's a program that brings to you entertainment in a single package. We do host artists, we host comedians, we host actors, poets. We premiere new videos ranging from comedy to movies to films to music videos, and we do the countdown as well.
For those who love sports, we have the Sports Blitz that comes every afternoon from 2 to 4 p.m. It looks at sports stories and events that happen within the country, within the region, and the whole continent and the globe.
Juba Echo TV gives me a platform to express myself, bring about the voices of our different communities, to make sure by the end of the day, the story is balanced, to make sure by the end of the day, the story is impartial. And this is what we do at Juba Echo TV.
Every Friday from 10 a.m. to 11, I host the Business Focus. This is the show that brings you discussions and highlights about entrepreneurship and economic development in South Sudan.
I am Ayom Garang. there is a program that I always do on Saturday at 8 p.m. That is the ladies' chat room that deals with things, affairs that are around the world about the ladies. Also reporting on my country, it's something that is very nice. Finding me around the corner, collecting information that is happening around. Also, we always provide news at 8 p.m. Monday to Friday, Juba Echo TV, information for empowerment. Our news, we have local news, sports news, and international news.
At Juba Echo, we have managed to make sure that you get the right information at any time, anywhere, by downloading the MTN TV Plus app on your mobile phone or following us on our social media platforms. You can access those information you would like to get.
Our motto is information for empowerment. Juba Echo TV is now making almost a year since we got onto South One decoders and also got connected to MTN TV Plus. But we have been in the trenches. We've been actually operating for some time online and, you know, building the momentum. It has taken us some time actually to reach where we've reached. And we are happy that we are making positive change in the lives of many people. We are also helping to provide skills through training. In 3 to 5 years, we will be among the biggest media houses in this country. And it is not just about being the biggest media house in the country, but it is about reaching many people, providing accurate information, especially in a country like ours where people need a lot of work in terms of providing information, civic education. We hope we are going to be among the leaders when it comes to providing this information to the public. We believe that we're investing in the future because the future is digital. The future is being online. And we are online. We are on MTN TV, we are on South One. We are also on internet, over the internet, whether Facebook, YouTube.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Juba Echo TV, information for empowerment.
I am the news producer. I make sure that you're working with deadline, meaning that you have to produce the news before its airing time. Well, there are several challenges that one faces during news time, more especially while anchoring the news as well. So we find there are a lot of words that must be repetitive if you mess around with it. Not only that, but when it comes to the computer side now, there are a lot of editings, and when we realize there is a small mistake, maybe a cloth that you wear did not fit well with the green screen, you find that is a challenge.
At Juba Echo TV, we have educative, interactive, and informative programs such as the Morning Echo that brings you all the current affairs, due to political, social, economical, sports, businesses in the morning from 7 to 9 a.m.
So it was. So the Minister of Finance even was saying that it is not actually what they have, because organized body, which there are some people to take care of the administrative issues. So not every individual to get up in the morning and go and cause the unnecessary fight with the Minister of Finance. All of us, we need money from the Minister of Finance. But not everybody of us is to get up in the morning, pick his gun, and go and threaten people. We are living in the country which is controlled by law and order.
We have catered for the youth who love entertainment with the Echo Vibes that brings you the music, the gossips, and celebrity news that happens within the country and across the globe.
I am the host of the Echo Vibes, a program that runs from Monday through to Friday from 11 to 1 p.m. It's a program that brings to you entertainment in a single package. We do host artists, we host comedians, we host actors, poets. We premiere new videos ranging from comedy to movies to films to music videos. and we do the countdown as well.
For those who love sports, we have the Sports Blitz that comes every afternoon from 2 to 4 p.m. It looks at sports stories and events that happen within the country, within the region, and the whole continent and the globe.
Juba Echo TV gives me a platform to express myself, bring about the voices of our different communities, to make sure by the end of the day, the story is balanced, to make sure by the story is impartial. And this is what we do at Juba Echo TV.
Every Friday from 10 a.m. to 11, I host the Business Focus. This is the show that brings you discussions and highlights development in South Sudan.
Garang, there is a program that I always do on Saturday at 8 p.m. That is the ladies' chat room that deals with things, affairs that are around the world about the ladies. Also reporting on my country, it's something that is very nice. Finding me around the corner, collecting information that is happening around. Also, we always provide news at 8 p.m. Monday to Friday, Juba Echo TV, information for empowerment. Our news, we have local news, sports news, and international news.
At Juba Echo, we have managed to make sure that you get the right information at any time, anywhere, by downloading the MTN TV Plus app on your mobile phone or following us on our social media platforms. You can access those information you would like to get.
Our motto is information for empowerment. Juba Echo TV is now making almost a year since we got onto South One decoders and also got connected to MTN TV Plus. But we have been in the trenches. We've been actually operating for some time online and, you know, building the momentum. It has taken us some time actually to reach where we've reached. And we are happy that we are making positive change in the lives of many people. We are also helping to provide skills through training. In 3 to 5 years, we will be among the biggest media houses in this country. And it is not just about being the biggest media house in the country, but it is about reaching many people, providing accurate information, especially in a country like ours where people need a lot of information, civic education. We hope we are going to be among the leaders when it comes to providing this information to the public. We believe that we are investing in the future because the future is digital. The future is being online. And we are online. We are on MTN TV, we are on South One, we are also on internet, over the internet, whether Facebook,